Welcome back to Sunday Square Off. March was a month-long headache for Governor Doug Ducey. His push for deregulation opened the door to two companies that harmed Arizonans. He lost that Prop 123 lawsuit, but that could be short-lived. And teachers have been relentless in making their case for pay raises. Their protests getting national headlines. The governor seemingly has no answer. Also, sometime in the next 2 months, Doug Ducey will formally announce he is running for re-election. Joining us for our left-right debate this morning on all that are, on the right, Christine Jones, former Republican candidate for governor and a former tech company executive. And on the left, Chad Campbell, former House Minority Leader and now a Senior Vice President at Strategies 360. Christine Jones, how did Doug Ducey lose control of this story as he heads into a re-election campaign?
Well, first of all, I think it's really fun for people to pile on when somebody's having a down month. To say this is the worst month of his entire administration might be a slight exaggeration. But look, the closer you get to the center of the universe, the hotter it is, right? And we're getting up to an election, and the Democrats really desperately want to take over that seat. So it's no surprise to me that people are piling on to him.
How did he lose control of this?
Well, I mean, I would say, first of all, it is his worst month. I'll start with that.
It is hard to think of one that's worse.
It's really
I tried.
Bad, yeah. And I will say this actually started in his State of the State speech last year. So when he came 2017, when he came out last year and promised all of those good things for education, including teacher pay increase, remember this, and he came out with that 1% increase last year, that backfired on him. That was the beginning of this, and it's kind of all come to a head now this year, but that was when it all started. And so this has really been a disaster of his own making in many cases. From the policy side to the political side, his entire administration right now is just scrambling, I feel like, and they're just not getting ahead of the message.
I give him credit. He's gamely going out there and answering reporters' questions. He just doesn't seem to have the right answers, and there's some confusion there. How effective has this Red for Ed movement been in throwing the governor just kind of off track?
I think of the things that happened in March, that's probably the single most effective one. He can't be held responsible for Theranos engaging in fraud or for Uber having an unfortunate incident with a self-driving car. The teacher pay issue, as Chad said, actually does link back to him and to the administration, and obviously to an extent to the legislature. And look, as you just talked about with Noah, teachers are underpaid in this state. We've been saying it for a long time, and if you're not going to do anything about it, then you're going to have to be left holding the cards, and so here we are.
Here we are with teachers demanding a 20% raise. You just heard threat of a strike. You're a former legislator, yeah. Chad Campbell. Can this legislature digest a 20% raise?
That may be a bit much, but to Noah's point, it actually puts you in line with our surrounding states for the most part, actually a little below still our surrounding states. They may not go 20%, but I will say, at the end of the day, I believe Doug Ducey and the legislature needs to do something this year, not just for politics, but for doing the right thing for the teachers. As Noah said, they need to get paid. The kids need to have teachers that are invested in this state. They need to do something. And from the political perspective, you know, again, Doug Ducey, I can't believe I'm saying this. I would never have said this 2 months ago. I think Doug Ducey's in trouble. And you can have bad policy and get away with it if you have good political decisions. But right now, Doug Ducey's making bad policy decisions and bad political decisions, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Disaster, but who's going to take advantage of that? Because it seems like the two Democratic candidates haven't been out there on this.
Well, the Democrats have a problem in that they don't have a perfect candidate. They don't have an unlimited supply of money, which the Republicans seem to have in the form of support for the governor. I will say that oddly, despite his pledge to reduce taxes every year and to never raise taxes, it might actually be politically expedient for him in this particular case to advocate for a tax increase, which is anathema to Republican candidates. It actually may get some of the critical mass of the voters on his side for the teachers.
You have a month left in this session.
Yeah.
What can the governor and legislature do in that month, or do they just try to run out the clock and wait till the primaries in August?
Well, I mean, the budget's not done. You can fix a lot of things in the budget. You can attach anything you want to the budget, basically. So if it's a tax increase, if it's closing some tax loopholes, if it's just rearranging some pots of money, they need to do something. I can't reiterate this enough. You know, even the governor has admitted several times that teachers deserve a pay raise. He said that. He's on record. And he's given them a small pay raise.
It's not a raise. It's a bonus.
A bonus, yeah. It's actually a great point. It's a bonus.
Yeah.
Well,
but, I was just saying, but that's not enough, though. That's just not enough to the voters of Arizona right now. That's what I believed. And to Christine's point, again, it's against Republican, you know, mantra to raise taxes. But I think in this case, Doug Ducey really needs to consider doing that.
What does he have to do?
Well, I was just going to say, I always make the disclaimer that my husband is a public school teacher, so obviously I'm advocating for my own pocketbook here. But the ability to change the budget and make the legislature do something is probably a non-starter. The easier path may be to advocate for the additional 0.9-cent sales tax to get to the ballot and let the voters take
this fall.
Responsibility.
This fall.
Yes, as opposed to waiting for 2 years.
Yes or no? Do you think teachers are going to strike? Yes or no? Don't know.
I have to abstain.
Abstain.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
If they don't get a pay raise, I think they strike.
All right. Okay. We'll be back with more in a minute. First.